Welcome to the Local Service Podcast episode. Who knows what? It's been a couple months since we've done one of these, and I am going to launch these back up. And so I would like to thank the guy that cold messaged me on the Local Service Podcast Instagram and offered to do clips for me. But it was a good pitch. It was a cold DM that came in. He's like, "Hey, I see all your clips. If you need help with these, we can help you out. And give me a plan." It was we'll do one video per day, so it's 30 clips per month. The way it works is you put a deposit down, we create the clips, then we need the deposit for us to give you the rest. And I was like, okay, that sounds pretty interesting. Mind you, though, when I clicked his profile, there was really nothing there. He had some stories like saved as a highlight, and it really wasn't anything to do with what he told me. And so it was a little bit of authority issues, and I'm going to tie this all together. So I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. I could use the help. I would love to keep pumping out these not only episodes but clips. And there's other podcasts that I've done that I can go back and pull and send. And if they can create clips from it, I mean, that'd be great. Would love to do that. And so I was interested in the service, and also being a business owner myself, like anytime somebody reaches out and it's genuine and it's a good price and a fair service or a good service worth me paying for, it's like, why not? Let's try it out. So I would say I'm much more likely to buy from someone like that than probably most people. And so I was like, okay. And so I asked about payment. So I was like, what are the next steps? And he said, how do you pay? That's my question. And he says that, do you have Binance? And then right there, I was like, okay, so you're asking for some crypto payment. And I thought that was weird. And then I was like, I was like, this might be a scam. It might not be. Honestly, I'm assuming this person is like in another country and this is better for them. So I was like, no, thank you. You know what? I'm just not interested anymore. And he's like, oh, we can also do PayPal if you have PayPal. And then again, I was like, it's just a little bit weird. And so the point I'm making here is I was in a sales process where I was an interested customer, but everything that this person had to demonstrate that they're a legitimate business failed. And so it could have been a bot. It could have been a scam. And whether it was or wasn't, those cues that would make me buy from somebody went away. And so this exact process is no different than people finding you online or finding you through Google ads or finding you through Meta ads or finding you through organic social media and not feeling like they are certain about who they're contacting. So you might be in a position where you are selling a service. So this is for local services. And maybe when people go to you, they're just like, there's something fishy about this guy. And so really what I'm getting at is, how do we get rid of that problem? And interestingly enough with the clients that I have, definitely there are scenarios where it just doesn't work out, as far as they get calls, they get form submissions, or they get very little of it. And it's not really an issue of, are people searching this? Are people clicking on the ad? Are there impressions? It's not really an issue about the budget. The budgets are small, don't get me wrong, but it shouldn't be that they get zero from it. And so what I think it's two things. One, it is an issue with building trust within that first interactions. And it's also possibly the sales process. So there's two ways I want to go here. One is, I should write this down because I'll probably forget. One is the sales process, right? So the sales process, and this is again for local service-based business, sales process. And the other one is going to be an issue with your certainty or your brand authority, trustworthiness. There's probably one word that'll really sum this all up. But to make it a sentence, it'd be like, if I hire these people, they will solve my problems legitimately. And so let's start with the legitimacy problem. So there are many services out there that require you to have insurance. And I have worked with people who are like, hey, I don't have insurance yet, but I would like to run ads and get customers, and I'll eventually get it. And the problem with that is it is such a industry that requires insurance that most companies have, licensed by the state of insurance number XXXXXXXX. And so when you don't have that, it's like, well, I mean, that in itself is like maybe what's pushing people away. So there's that. There is, if you don't have a legitimate address. So, I don't really think this plays into effect for local services, but I could see why it would for at least some potential customers, is that if you look up an address and you're supposed to be, let's say, a moving company, and your business is located in a apartment number, then there are some legitimate issues. It's like, okay, if I'm a big company that I have to move my offices from, point A to another from city A to city B, and it's going to cost me, $5,000, $10,000. I don't know what the prices are. I want to hire somebody who has a building, who has trucks, who's insured. So there's that. And then along with that, if you go on and read their services and it doesn't include what you want. So in this example where it is a company that it wants to move from one city to another for their offices, if it doesn't include office moving, then that's like, okay, they don't do what I'm looking for. And so these little things, I think that's like 3 things, they add up. And you're like, well, I'd rather just go look for somebody else because, well, I don't think if I call these guys, they'll have my solution. And then let's imagine that they do call, right? That they do call and they talk to somebody. And let's say this person that picks up the phone isn't well versed in the area that they're servicing. Like they don't really know how to price it. They don't really know how to sell it. They don't really know. They're not so experienced that they know fluently what the answers are, how to go about things. They're like, they're stirring on their words. They're saying wrong information and then kind of backing up on what they said. And so it's not very smooth. Let's say it's like that. Then that builds even more untrustworthiness. And again, why would somebody want to work with somebody like that? And then you can add a whole slew of things like, did they pick up? When did they pick up? Were they professional? So on and so forth. So having an online presence it's almost like you can skip some of the trustworthiness. And what I mean by that is, if your website is good, if it has all the right information, if you have the basic check marks that people need as far as like, what is the price? Where are you located? How long have you been in business? How many people have you helped? If you answer those questions in the beginning, in a quick glance while the customer is going through your website or your social media or wherever they're looking at you, then at the very least, they're not contacting you for trustworthiness. They're not contacting you for other reasons. There's always other reasons, right? Competitors, maybe it's closed. Maybe the service to get the service there's too far. Maybe the reviews aren't great. But at least it's not a legitimacy issue. It is simply a issue of something else. So those are some things that can be worked on if you aren't getting customers from any source. So SEO, Google Ads, social media, organic, even word of mouth. If they go to your site and they're like, what the heck is this? That might be something that you want to work on to improve on that. Your business can be so, for example, there's lots of businesses that have been around for 20 years who have very bad sites. I'm not saying that that's if you have a bad site with bad trustworthiness, that it won't go well. I'm saying that could be one of the factors that can detract from you. And so I think for newer businesses that have been doing it for 1, 2, 3 years, it's a bit harder because you have less proof, less evidence of you being successful helping other people or businesses in that area for whatever service that is. Whereas if a company has been around for 10, 15, 20, 25 plus years, then yeah, maybe their online presence isn't great, but they've helped so many people that the word of mouth is already there. Like it's built, like word of mouth is interesting because if you continue to do what you're doing and you do a good job of it, I feel like it's almost inevitable. It does depend on the service and the price points and who you help, right? So like I've helped certain people that weren't really the type of business that we help. And then of course they, their network talks about, hey, get the services from Symphony Advertising. And it's like, wait, we don't really want to service that because we're not good at that. And it's happened, but my point is, if you help the people that you can help, the whole target customer. If you target the correct customer in the correct area for the services that you are good at, I feel that it's very inevitable to get word of mouth referrals. And so for those businesses that have been around for a long time, they have that going. And maybe they don't have the online presence for it, but maybe they have the community behind it, right? They've been around for 20 years. They've been helping out in the community. They've been doing other types of marketing. So that is the certainty, brand, trustworthiness, legitimate issue. To go back to the initial guy that pitched me on his on IG DMs, if I would have gone to his profile and he would have said owner of, and then it's called, I don't know, videoclipmaker.com, videoclipcompany.com, and I clicked it, and then I see that they've worked with 10 different companies, and here are 8 different testimonials, 8 different examples of the clips they've done. If they had a couple testimonials of customers that helped out, and then maybe if they linked actual social media channels where I could physically see, and then if I were to look at them and I see that that guy was following that account and maybe have liked a couple posts, then I would have been like, okay, at the very least I know that this person has helped other people. Therefore, that's building that trustworthiness. Because the price was good, in my opinion. But I thought the price was fair. I think it was like $410 per month or something like that for 30 clips. Just based off of whim, I was like, that doesn't sound too bad. And so if I would have seen that, I would have immediately been like, okay, this is good. And he did send me like images of videos of past clips they have made. But I was like, this could be anybody. Like, how do I know this is yours? And there, like I said, he didn't mention like a company name. There was no branding anywhere. So I was like, I don't know. Like, I really don't know. And then if I went to his profile, there was like a partner involved. And I'm like, well, who's this guy? So if I would have seen a website with more information about it and just more it didn't have to be a lot. It could have been 3 examples that he did for free that, here's the pricing, here's the testimonials, here's the clips. I would have been like, okay, perfect. And then to add to that, for the payment part, that's where I kind of get confused. Like, sometimes I wonder, like, what are my clients doing? Like, how are they accepting payment? Because sometimes that gets fishy. So number one, I think the most trustworthy, at least in these days, are going to be like online invoices, cash, and even checks. Like, we know that's a thing. Like, we know that exists. And I guess with cash, you can also say Zelle, Cash App. Actually, Zelle, because when you get into Cash App and Venmo, I feel like that's no longer with your bank. That's like a different type of transaction system. So I don't feel like that's as professional. If you can pay with a debit card or a credit card, I think that is the most professional it could get, and it's the least amount of hesitation to make a payment. Because if somebody asks me to Zelle them, I'm like, no. I mean, if it's a friend, that's great, but like, I don't Zelle other businesses unless it's like, something particular. Then Cash App, Venmo, I guess it's okay, but it doesn't feel as professional. And then for sure, any kind of crypto thing, in my opinion, is like super sketchy. People ask for trade. I think that's kind of weird too. And so I would say online invoices, meaning you send an invoice and you can play it online. I think that's the best way to go about it. Or if you have like a booking system, but that's the same thing. So like if someone goes and they schedule through your booking form and they can put a deposit or pay through there, I think that's still good. And so having those things are really going to help. And so I'm going to move on to the sales process now. So for the sales process, I think that, and this is the same situation where a customer is getting traffic and is getting clicks from their ads or their SEO or their social media with reason, right? Like, I'm talking a couple hundred clicks and hits to the site per month that are targeted, meaning that the people that are going to the site, we know at the very least they are clicking keywords that are most likely going to be new customers, or they're looking at content that is most likely going to be a new customer. Because if you could have 10,000 people going to your site every month, but if it's like just completely the wrong audience, for example, you're in Houston, but your main source of eyeballs is in California, then it's like, well, you can't service people that are in California, therefore most of your traffic is not relevant. And you see this a lot with blogs. So a lot of SEO strategies will do blogs, but the problem with that is you'll get a lot of hits to your site, but most of it is just for the blog. They're never gonna be a customer because they don't live in your area. But there's pros and cons. So the con is they're never gonna become a customer. The pros is that you do get the traffic to the website, which does help increase your SEO efforts. So give and take. It maybe the best scenario would be if you create a blog that is in between both, right? So like it is in this example, a Houston-based blog about the service. Maybe that would be the best of both worlds, which is actually a phenomenal idea. Write that down for myself. I lost my own train of thought. Location-based blogs and services. That's interesting. So when we go to the sales process, so let's assume you are getting the correct audience going to your site. You know that they are potential buyers. Let's say it's a couple hundred. Like it's not a traffic issue, and it's not a targeting issue. It is a issue of conversion. And so let's say that's all right, and people actually do call you and submit a form. And again, this is for businesses that are struggling closing deals, right? And so one of the more popular issues that I see is that, hey, I'm priced at this amount and people in my area either can't afford it or won't pay those prices because a lot of my competitors are priced much lower. But I don't want to lower my prices for that reason. So then this is where it gets a little weird, because it's like, okay, so is the price you have it at justified? And what I find kind of interesting sometimes is if you're a new business and you're priced as a high ticket, not high ticket but like a higher version of this, that you're priced higher, is like, is that justified? And can you back that up? Can you back the price up that your version is better than the competitor's version, which let's say it's 50% less? And if you can't, well, then that's a big issue, because that's the problem probably that person's being run into. Is like, okay, if I do it for $1,000, but that person is willing to do it $500, why should that person not go with a $500 service if it's the same service? And so there it's a problem of communicating why it is worth $1,000. So it could be based off of experience. It could be based off of expertise in that particular arena. It could be based off of the ingredients or quality of the product is better. What is that difference? And if you can't communicate that difference between the competitor and yourself, that's a big issue, right? So it gets tough there, but that might be one of the issues in the sales process. One thing I have found that I haven't shared too much yet with other clients that I think I'm going to start doing moving forward when this issue comes up, which is not that often. I would say this happens like every 20 customers, maybe there's one or two that it's an issue. So it's not very frequent, and it's ups and downs. Like sometimes it is an issue and then it goes away because they figure it out. It's figure outable. And so with my own business, what I have done is when a lead comes in that is either from social media, my organic social media, TikTok, SEO, referral, if I speak to a person and they aren't necessarily ready to be at our first tier, so we're tiered, we have 3 packages basically, and then we have website projects by themselves. So really there's only 4 options: website project by itself, or marketing package 1, 2, or 3. If they aren't quite ready to be in one of these areas, it could be because of they don't trust us. It could be because they're a new business and they don't have the money for it yet. It could be that they're just not ready. What I like to do is I have a hidden price that I don't offer regularly, but I would say something like, hey, because you were referred by X, or because you found us on SEO, or because you're a new business, or because I'd like to prove and earn your business, we can do it for hidden price. And if in the 3 months you're happy with them, then we can talk about either raising it to our normal rates, or we can just not work together. No harm, no foul. There's that part. But what I do is I strip away what our packages are. So I don't give them the $500 package in this scenario. I give them a version of that. So it doesn't have everything that it all includes. Like it's not gonna have, it's not gonna have the bells and whistles. It's not gonna have the monthly reporting the same way that the regular clients have it. And I make that clear up front, like, hey, this is a unique situation. We'll give it 3 months, or we'll give it a month, we'll give it 4 months, whatever it is, and we will work from there. So what I have found is, instead of, and this is only like if you're, it's maybe a little bit different for like my type of business, but there has to be versions of this for other services or service-based businesses, where it's just about getting that customer in, right? And then proving what you can do, and then adding onto it as time goes by. So in my instance, we help the client grow. In other instances, it might be just you get them in, and then you have somebody as a referral, or you get somebody in, you get it as a Google review, or you get it in and you get a testimony for a site. So however you can, yes, you have to discount your price for the time being, but however you can make that work out so that in the future it'll benefit you, maybe a case study, maybe something that you can get content from for your social media channels. I mean, that's a good one, right? Let's say you have a $500 service, you discount it, 75%. I can't do the math, but whatever it is. You say, hey, fine, we can do the service for you, but instead of it being a 2-hour thing, we would like to have it all day so that we can teach our people how to do it, or so that we can hyperanalyze the thing that you want to hyperanalyze. I don't know, but there is a way as a business owner to try and make that work. If you work somewhere and you're not in charge of that kind of stuff, then that's a different mountain to climb. But those are the two things I wanted to go over today, which were the sales process and also the legitimacy/trustworthiness of businesses online. Hopefully this episode is any good. It was a very impromptu because that guy messaged me. Shout out to that guy, because even though it got a little weird, got me on here. So thanks for checking out today's episode Who Knows What. Catch you on the next one.